I just spoke with the homeowner who is very shaken up. He said he heard a really big boom this morning, then a hissing sound, and he just ran outside of his house. He is okay, but his home is gone. I hit an icy patch, slid everywhere, and slammed into a guardrail. And I want to show you the sleet that I was talking about through Lebanon Junction. And I'm going to be careful here because it's slick out here, stepping down. You can see it on this window. This is what we were dealing with. And I'll show you in here. Airbags deployed. That's how bad my accident was. So please be careful out there.
You love the show from the ground. We like it from the air. We're taking you upside down inside a stunt plane coming up.
And firefighters are describing this as a total loss. If you look at the video, you can see left to right the home, just the frame really stands there. In the middle, you can see that middle part of the home is completely burned to the ground, and then the garage there on the right. Because this is a very active scene right now. What you're looking at is a police car, and they have someone in the back seat that they have handcuffed. It's not clear why this person is in custody right now. This field isn't just for the cows. 1,000 acres behind me has the potential to be a mega site that could attract a huge company and lots of jobs. We are here at the paddock, one of the hot spots for general admission ticket holders. People are starting to set up. The hustle and bustle has started. These lovely ladies from a nonprofit organization, they're working today. They'll be serving guests here. Check it out! Ah! T-shirt! Frozen! Look at this. Frozen t-shirt. This is how cold it is. This happened in like 40 minutes. A time of turmoil in Southeast Asia, the Vietnam War. More than 1,000 Americans missing in action or being held prisoner. Families back home waiting for answers.
One day we got abrupt notice that he has been shot down.
Michael Shelton was 9 years old, living in Okinawa when his dad, Colonel Charles Shelton, a pilot in the Air Force, was shot down over Laos on his 33rd birthday in 1965.
He was running around free for 3 days and then captured.
He remembers his father.
I do remember distinctively Dad being very affectionate towards his children. I can remember him picking me up often, tickling me, you know, throwing me up in the air.
The youngest of 5, Joan Shelton, was only 18 months old when her father was shot down. She has no memories of him.
Mom's always said that I wrote like him and thought like him, and just reminded her of Dad a lot.
Their mother, a whole different kind of prisoner. Marion Shelton's hands were tied, trying to get answers for decades about what happened to her husband.
I considered my dad as a prisoner of war, and my mom was missing in action.
Some answers came from the government, reports about their dad's courage while held captive.
Just outright belligerent and assaultive if he could get away with it. Dad was deemed incorrigible by his captors.
After escaping a few times, he was kept in a hole in the ground with a grate over it, guards standing over him 24/7. Charles Shelton stood his ground, protected his country.
During an interrogation, he beat 3 men to death.
There were conflicting reports for years. They never knew if their father was still alive or dead. Some POWs and MIAs were declared dead by the U.S. government. Marion Shelton wouldn't allow it, not without proof her husband was in fact dead, and that meant going to Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia in 1973 for answers.
Snuck into Laos illegally, and she was just a real go-getter. She would not let them push this under the rug.
Colonel Charles Shelton has never been found. Not him, not his remains.
This issue has haunted our family our entire lives. It has left its scar on each of us.
The headlines changed. The missing Air Force pilot, a prisoner of war, alive or dead. Stories shifted towards the courageous wife, but little by little, the mystery ate away at Marion.
It just took over and enveloped her.
In 1990, she committed suicide.
She just couldn't take anymore.
Just a few years later, the 5 children made a decision to put it all to rest.
I still think we may get answers someday, or we might get some remains. You never know.
They pushed and had the government declare the last official prisoner of war from the Vietnam era killed in action. The story changes. A chapter closed, wounds still open.
I feel sad. It's still a little bit hard for me to talk about it.
But there are sweet spots in life. The brother and sister take a trek from Louisville to West Point, Kentucky.
Is this Norma?
Yes.
To meet a woman who never gave up on the Shelton family.
You too. Are you a son?
Yes.
Okay.
All because of a POW bracelet she bought in 1975. By chance, Norma Brewer's bracelet was engraved with the name of a Kentucky man, Colonel Charles Shelton.
I was going to save mine, and when he come home, I wanted to give it to him,
Oh, bless your heart.
but he never did.
He never came back.
No.
Norma thought about the Sheltons often, clipping articles and jotting down notes about the family, including the names of Colonel Shelton's 5 children. There's an exchange of bracelets.
Norma, here's a later version I want you to have.
So I want you all to have.
Well, thank you so much, Norma.
A telling of stories.
So he had 5 kids before 33.
A chapter in Norma's life that is closing.
And there's quite a date spread here too, Norma.
Yeah.
Turning over years of articles scrawled with handwritten notes of hope.
It's almost like Norma's was an angel all these years, overlooking Dad's fate.
And what really touched me was her giving us the bracelet that she wanted to give to my dad.
Colonel Charles Shelton is commemorated in his hometown of Owensboro, Kentucky, standing tall and strong in the forefront of the memorial named after him. On the other side,
The families that are left behind suffer a great deal also.
another kind of hero.
I think it's a story, it's a thing that needs to be told.
I often will wonder what our lives would have been like if we never had lost Dad. I'm sure it would have been monumentally different.
Stunt pilot Billy Worth is a daredevil. Maybe even a maniac, but it's not anything he hasn't heard before.
I've had people call me crazy. I'm like, yeah, but that's kind of all relative.
Thunder Over Louisville is one of his favorite events to perform in. This is his 3rd year here.
You've got people on both sides of the shoreline, so you've got kind of 2 crowd lines. So I'm going to put part of the maneuvers in the front over by the Galt House, and then some of the maneuvers I'll put over on the Indiana side because there's people over there. Then you got the 2 bridges to fly around, which is super duper fun.
With the absence of U.S. military planes this year, stunt performers will be the stars of the show.
Yeah, it's certainly some sort of dysfunctional addiction for the guys that do this, for sure.
Many pilots will be featured twice. You'll see Billy Worth doing a lot of these shenanigans and more.
Straight up, straight down, flipping around. And, you know, half the stuff people look at and like, I didn't even really know an airplane could do that.
So what is it like to do all that?
So imagine, like, every day if you wanted to go flying, you could build your own roller coaster every day. You're like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I get to build a new roller coaster every time I go fly.
And back to people calling him crazy.
Even last year I had people call me up and go, dude, you flew under the bridge. But because of some of the angles where some of the pictures were taken, it totally looked like I was under the bridge. But I wasn't. But not that I don't want to. I certainly want to, but I won't.
What is it like knowing that 500,000 people or more are watching you?
When like down here on the ground talking about it, it's kind of, I don't know, it's humbling a little bit because you're like, wow, there's a lot of people that your attention is solely drawn to those people.
But he's only concerned with doing his job and doing it safely.
When the actual flying starts, I don't notice that there's a crowd there. I'm just flying like I always do in the airspace that I need to fly in. So if there's people entertained in the process, then that's a bonus, that's a plus.
But let's be honest, he loves to show off.
If you look to the